Hey, everybody. It's me, Nova Nebula. This isn't so much an episode, it's more of an update. Yeah, I know. I totally missed last week's episode, and I actually have a really good reason for that. We moved. We found a new venue. It is about 9 minutes away from our current location, or, well, our previous location. It is slightly smaller, however, the space feels so much larger. One of the good things about this location now is the walls aren't such a black color that it absorbs light. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nobody wants like a white or an eggshell colored venue, and we are definitely going to work on that. I promise you that white walls, those are not going to be white for long. And it's probably going to take a couple of weeks to get things situated in the ways that I would like. But let me tell you, being able to have the opportunity to build my location from scratch and not kind of use the thing that was laid out before me as just like what was there is so refreshing. I have the opportunity to make this in my vision truly and completely. And for this, I am honestly very grateful. The whole moving process, to everyone that has moved before, was crazy. Understand that that alone was very stressful. We found things that we didn't even know we had. I had found dozens of Sharpies, and let me tell you, I've been looking for Sharpies for weeks. A lot of things that we discovered are things that are definitely useful to us and will be making an appearance in the new venue location. But there's also a lot of clutter and cleaning house that we did. So I'm very excited for that. Out with the old and in with the new. With that being said, there's a lot of work to be done. I'm going to put up lights, sound barriers. I'm going to put up cloth. I'm going to install some things to make the space feel like us. We were very fortunate to have a lot of volunteers and event goers come and help us with the move, which made this arduous process so much easier. It's a lot better to have a lot of people help because if I would have to do that with just me and the other owner of the venue, it would have taken us weeks. I don't even think that we could have done it in the short period of time that we had to move. And for those of you asking questions, we essentially moved because the lease at the previous location was up. We weren't kicked out. We didn't have any drama. There wasn't any issues. It was just the simplicity of the lease being up at that location. And we decided to find a place that is more suitable for us and our dungeon. We did lose a few hundred square feet, which realistically was the front office that wasn't available for use for play, anyways. The new location is much more spacious. I've gotten a lot of people telling me how much bigger it feels. The bathroom is ginormous compared to the previous bathrooms that we had, and that definitely makes a big difference for me. I'm also really excited for our new lobby. I'm going to be installing a TV in there so we can watch anime and horror movies in different locations. I'm going to be installing stereo systems and little Alexas and things like that in different locations as well. So that way, different rooms and different areas of the dungeon can have its own little vibe. The playroom is very large, and I have lots of places to put all of my cool custom BDSM furniture. I am going to be installing a lot of soundproofing in different areas, and eventually I'm going to be painting the walls, adding some fans, adding different ACs. So honestly, I am super stoked because again, I get to build this place from the ground up. Yes, it's arduous. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But at least now I can say that everything that is going to be at the new location is in my vision, and it's going to be able to be a space that I'm going to be proud of. The move was very stressful, as most moves are, and even with all the help, I wish that it was like an easier process. I mentioned to a few people last week that moving itself was similar to like trying to wrangle cats. So, in the process of moving, there's lots of cleaning and vacuuming. We removed things from walls. We took out hundreds or thousands of staples. Well, at least it felt like thousands. I thought I was going to die. I also didn't realize how many extension cords we had that we actually weren't using. And did I mention that I found dozens of Sharpies? I swear, moving dungeons, even though there was less things, was still as stressful as moving an entire house, if that can make sense. I found things that I don't even remember that I bought. I found things that were still in packages, and I also found cool stuff that I knew was basically in there somewhere, but we had so much clutter that I just couldn't see it at the time. So there was lots of discoveries that were made. We also found a pair of shoes that none of the volunteers claimed, so that's definitely odd. But with all of the discoveries and all of the light being shed in the corners that were kind of hidden before, it gives me the opportunity to declutter. I am removing things that are things that were never in use, things that I bought that I thought were a good idea, but just never actually used. Now I have the opportunity to make the new location more curated for the very specific events that I like to host. I am a little sad that the move had to happen quicker than I had originally been told. Originally, we were supposed to be out on the 31st, which was the end of the month, but sadly, we actually needed to move last Sunday. I needed to cancel a very fun event of mine, and it left me feeling a little bitter and a little sour about it. However, we're flexible. We adapt, right? So that particular event is not canceled, it was just rescheduled. Although finding the dungeon monitors for that is a whole nother story. I've also recently had the opportunity to meet one of our current neighbors. Yes, we have neighbors. Before, we really didn't interact with the neighbors that much. They weren't very friendly, and I can kind of understand why. But the new location seems different. As I was unpacking and dragging in about a dozen boxes from my car to the new venue, the neighbors pulled up beside us and he came over and said hello. He introduced himself. He was all smiles. He was like, "Hi, neighbor. Nice to meet you. I look forward to seeing you in the future." So that gives me a lot of hope that my neighbors are going to be super cool despite what we do. Although, to be honest, they will never really know what we do. It is a nice change, though, to have a neighbor that's much more friendly and outgoing than the previous ones. Today is more of an update than an actual episode. I will be doing my best to ensure that I'm releasing at least once a week. I am going to do a true and proper episode this week on Wednesday, and I'll keep up the momentum there. I appreciate all of you for being patient with me and us as we're moving from one venue to the next. I hope to see all of you in the future. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nova Nebula. This is an update for the podcast, my podcast. This is why I'm not invited. Everybody, be safe, have a wonderful weekend, and take care.